Alright guys, back again for another review. Big Tom.
Damien.
Today we are doing the Sat Mini Mod by Satburn.
Yeah, this is a small little mechanical device. Basically, it's built for 16mm diameter atomizers. It's by Satburn, who brought us the Sat22, which we have just reviewed as well. And it's a cool, quirky little device. It doesn't have its own top cap. It's a bit like the red rod. It doesn't have its 510 pin in it. The atomizer connects directly to the battery inside the top hole here. And it was basically, like I said, built for 16mm atomizers. It's made of 304 stainless steel. It's got a really nice switch on it. It has a brass connection at the bottom, but it doesn't have insulation on that around that bottom button, but it does have venting in the button. As soon as you press it, you have some venting there with these two little slots inside. These retail at 90 quid, you know, and it's another one of them rocking horse shit mods. You know, currently I've got the Narwhal inside, which is another rocking horse shit mod. Sorry about that. But well, like we said on the Sat22 review, Satburn is currently in the process of doing his website at the moment, and these will be available. I think they come in all sizes. This one is the 18350. They do have an 18500, I believe, as well. Yeah. It's a lovely little mod. It's a proper stealthy little mod. And you know, 90 quid for a genuine by Satburn, it works really, really well. I do like the fact that your 16mm mod, 16mm ATI does fit inside like that. Yeah. However, it doesn't have its own airflow in the mod, so putting something like a spheroid in this, which is a 16mm, if you put it in directly with this, you're not going to get that sort of, you're not going to be able to vape it really, because it's got no airflow. But what I did is I just put like a little 510 connector in there and my spheroid on the top of it, and it worked fine. It sat up a little bit higher than it should, although it did look flush. Another thing as well I found with this, and you'll need an atomizer really with an adjustable 510, because with the AWIMRs in it, you do get a little bit of battery rattle. The Narwhal, this one doesn't have the 510, adjustable 510. You can, I think Scott Bonner showed us on his review, that you can actually put a little O-ring in the 510 connection of the Narwhal just to bring it out a little bit to stop the battery rattle. But that's on an AWIMR. I have found that you have an E-Fest button top, 18350, that it's a slightly bigger battery and it does get rid of any battery rattle in it. But yeah, the switch is really nice on it. It is really nice and stealthy, and it's a lovely little brush finish. For me, I mean, I really like it. I really love using it because it is stealthy, and I can sort of fit my 16mm atomizers inside it, and it looks quite cool, like the Narwhal. It does look really nice. But to say 90 quid for it, you know, it is a tiny little mod, you know what I mean? And to look at, you wouldn't think it was anything too special. Yeah. You know, it does work really well. I do like the fact that your atomizer connects to your battery. We've got more mods coming out like that now, like the 4.9, like the red rod, and it does give a wicked hit. Yeah. You know, a lot of people will be complaining, you know, what happens if you have an atomizer that leaks through the 510 and all that. Just be very mindful. You know, if you kind of know what you're doing and all that, you're going to be able to avoid all that. And like I said, we do have venting through the bottom button, but you know, if you do have anything that is venting, you should probably, common sense will prevail, and you know to get rid of that battery anyway. Yeah, so what we'll do now is we'll go down to the table. I'll let you have a little look around it. There's not too much to see. It's just a little 18350 mechanical mod, but we'll have a little closer look, and then we'll come back and give you our final thoughts. Shave.
So here you have your Sat Mini Mod by Satburn. This 18350 mechanical mod is made of 304 stainless steel, has a bottom switch, and take 16mm diameter atomizers, which basically sit inside the mod. And like a lot of mods that are coming out at the moment, it doesn't have its own pin in there in the 510 or anything like that. It basically, the atomizers connect directly to the battery. Now there's not a huge amount to show you actually, apart from the fact it looks a little bit like a bullet. The only bit that basically comes off, seeing as it's not a modular and just set 18350, is the bottom switch here. You have a brass connection piece there, and you have a hole at the top there, and basically two little holes either side of the switch for venting, and that happens when the button is pushed. Yeah, and basically you just put a battery in. Pretty simple enough. I'm using an AWIMR 18350 there at the moment. Tightening your switch, placing your ATI. Currently I've got the Narwhal V2 here with me, which is a Genesis style atomizer, and just screw that in until it connects to your battery, and off you go. Now the problem I've found with these, let me just zoom out a fraction so you can see. The problem I've found with the AWIMRs is there is a little bit of battery rattle. Unless you have an adjustable 510 on your atomizer, using some 18350s you're going to get a bit of battery rattle because they don't actually attach directly to the atomizer. You can still vape it, that's not a problem, like so, but you are going to get a bit of battery rattle. You can slightly adjust the Narwhal if you do have one by putting an O-ring in before you screw in the centre post again, but otherwise you are going to need an atomizer with an adjustable 510 pin if you're going to use AWIMRs. However, I have found with the eFest IMR 18350s that they are just that little bit longer, so you're not going to get any battery rattle whatsoever, and that works just as well. Another thing I have found with these, obviously it doesn't have its own airflow or any sort of airflow control in the mod, so if you plan on using something like a spheroid, which are also 16mm and very popular 16mm atomizers, then basically you're not going to be able to get a draw off it. So yeah, what I have done, which probably would be frowned upon by a few people in circles, is I've just basically used an adapter like this. If I want to use my spheroid, I'll put in this 510 and ego threaded adapter, screw that in, and it still looks kind of flush like that, and it works a treat as well. So that's one way if you did want to use your spheroids with the Sat Mini mod. Sorry for anybody who thinks that a bit bastard, but I do like my spheroids and I think it looks great with the Sat Mini mod. Another thing I have found as well, not to do too much complaining because it's a beautiful mod, is that say I have my Narwhal in there, which is a very high-end Genesis atomizer and really quite hard to get hold of, so you want to look after it. But basically if you screw it in, over time you do end up getting sort of like a ring around the brush finish where you're screwing it in and it's sort of just hitting the sides, pretty much like you get with the micro stick. When you're screwing anything in like that, it does actually sort of put a dark ring around your atomizer. But once again, if you are just being overly cautious, you can use that 510 adjustable, that 510 adapter, and it will work a treat. But yeah. So there you go. Like I said, not too much to say about it really. It's very simple but a pretty design and very stealthy, and like I said, it does look a little bit like a bullet. The switch is really nice. Like I said, you do have your air holes for venting at either side of the switch. It doesn't have any insulation by the brass connection there, so you know, use it at caution. But anyway, if you do have a battery that's going to vent or something like that, then it's obviously on its way out. Common sense will prevail and you'll know not to use that battery anyway. But yeah, there you have it, the Sat Mini mod by Satburn. A beautiful little stealthy sort of 18350 mechanical mod there. Fits really nice with the Narwhal if you have one, if you're lucky enough to find one of the bastards. And like I said, you can use that spheroid, but you'll need that adapter as well because you don't have any airflow control with the Sat Mini mod. Yeah, it's a very simplistic but very nice, hard-hitting, little stealthy device.
Alright guys, after being down on the table, looking in the woods for another unicorn, here we have Satmod Mini. I do really like this. It's 16mm like the Pisces. I do own one of the Pisces, well my missus does, 16mm as well. Damien saying £90 is a little bit on the high end side, you know, for what the mod it is, but the Pisces is exactly the same and it's just as well as that.
Yeah, it's at that same little price range, and you know, yes, they are unicorns and hard to get hold of at the moment, but like I've said, the Satburn website is going to be up and running soon, so they will be readily available for everybody, which is quite important. You know, you'll all get a chance to try one. If you do have a few 16mm Atties, like the Narwhal or like the Hellfire Mini, or even if you've got a spheroid, once again, if you just put that little 510 extra connection in it, you can have it. The spheroid will sit up a little bit higher, but it will provide its airflow then through the 510 connection, and it will still look flush and it doesn't look too bad. So that can work out for you. But yeah, it's nice. You know, you can also get your Penelopes for it, or even a Euphoria. You know, if you own them, and it will sit in nice and small, and it is a very dinky, nice sort of little mod. You know, that you can easily put in your pocket. Yeah.
Well, that's everything's going at the minute. You might as well stick with your stealth vapes. You know what I mean? Because you know it's going to be the Ranger. We're getting these 26650 batteries, fucking huge things, and then you come to this and. But this is definitely elegance, and it's really nice in what it is, and it's built really well.
Yeah, the switch is lovely. I love the feel of the switch. It is really nice. It's just a ever so light touch, you know. Obviously, if you do have an AWIMR and something without its own adjustable 510, you're going to have to push the button a little bit further in to make connection. But like I said, with these E-Fest nipple tops in this, it's a very light touch, and you don't get any battery rattle whatsoever. But that all depends on what atomizer you're using, and if it doesn't have adjustable 510, really. Yeah. You know. And
it's going to sit nice, and it's going to be flush, so you're not going to have your button firing without you knowing about it, which is best.
The only thing I will sort of have a little tiny moan about is that when you do screw your Atty in like that, and you know you use it quite a lot, you are going to get a small ring around your atomizer, obviously, of where you're screwing and unscrewing, a little bit like you get on the micro stick as well. So if you do have something sort of polished or something, you will end up with that small ring around your atomizer. So once again, up to you. If you do have an expensive 16mm atomizer on the top, you can put in that little extra connection piece, and you'll have it just sit right on the top. It will still look flush, there's no gap, but it will be a little bit higher up like that. But then you can avoid getting them rings on it if you've got an expensive or a hard to find Genesis atomizer or whatever atomizer on the top of it. That's my kind of only little complaint about it, is that you can get that sort of ring around your atomizer when unscrewing and screwing back in. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, apart from that, it's a lovely dinky little device. Cool. It is really cool. It's nice and stealthy. It feels really nice. Good button. It feels nice and tough as well. It doesn't feel. It looks a bit more flimsy than it actually feels in the hand. It is. It's really quite nice, and I do love this switch. Same. You know, you can sit it down. It's very flush on the button, so you can set it down and it will not fire on its own. You have to push it inside, and that's really cool. And it's very simple. You know, it's very you know, it's very basic, even though, you know, it is high end and hard to get hold of at this moment in time. It's very simple, and off you go, you know, and it does hit nice and hard. Due to the fact that you haven't got a 510 pin in it, it just connects straight from your atomizer to your battery. Like I said, we've got more and more of them mods coming out now, just with that straight connection. So yeah, scores.
For it being so minimalistic, we've done a wall on top. It does look beautiful.
Yeah.
Obviously you can only get the 16mm that is in there, but with the Nawal in there, 10 all day for me, it looks beautiful. Yeah,
it looks great with a brushed 16mm atomizer sitting inside of it. It does really complement it, and that was what it was designed for. And so something like this for looks with a matching atomizer, you're going to have to give it like a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, or you'd give it a 10 out of 10, wouldn't you?
10 personally.
Yeah, it does look really nice, and I've seen some pictures with a Hellfire Mini in there as well, and it looks stunning. It really is nice. For vape, it's great. Like I said, it hits bang on. The switch is really nice. The vape is great as well, depending on the resistance of your atomizer. It just fires really great. There's no got me lime sparkle in the Narwhal, which bang on. Yeah, so, but you know, maybe a little bit on the pricey side at 90 quid. For what it is, it's very simple, it's very basic. You know, maybe you could look around 60, 70 quid for it, I would say personally. But you know, it is.
And it holds its value. It holds its value, which is also a good thing. Obviously, with some high-end mods do hold their value, some of them do lose it. This has seemed to hold its value, so if you're paying £90 for it, it is there.
But yeah, that's the Satburn mini mod, and like I said, this is the 18350 version. They do also come in an 18500 version as well. Keep your eyes open, because Satburn will be opening up his website soon, so hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on one of these, or the Sat22, or any of the stuff that he makes. It's well machined. It's a really nice sort of quality working stuff that he's got coming out there, and hopefully more available for everybody else. So yeah, keep your eyes well and truly peeled. Thank you very much for watching this review, and we will see you on the next one. Stay safe.